Okay, so anybody who's been keeping up with my Tumblr lately knows that I waited a little while after the pilot dropped to watch the pilot to Hazbin Hotel, despite the fact that you guys actually brought the entire project to my attention a long freaking time ago. And just looking at some of the early art stuff, the character designs and whatnot, I've been interested in it ever since you guys did bring it to my attention. And at first that was just because I was having a really terrible week. And then it was for another reason that I'm going to bring up later on in this video, because this video is not just a review of Hazbin Hotel. Sorry for the bait and switch, and it is that title, but it is just gonna be more than that. You're gonna have to deal with it. And anyone who might be following some of the controversy around the show so far might already know what else this video is going to be about. And I just want to say to those of you who do already know where this is going, please bear with me. I'm going to try to be as balanced as possible with my analysis here. And I am going to review the pilot episode. Here, actually, I'll get that out of the way first. It was good. I didn't think it was great. I don't like some of the things that the show seems to be doing, but overall I thought it was a quality half-hour-ish of animation. Now, for those who don't know what Hazbin Hotel is, it is an animation geared at adults, show run by writer and comic book artist and animator Vivian Medrano, aka VivzyPop. And despite the fact that it is an adult animated show, it's all about trying to redeem literal demons, which in this universe means people who were sent to hell because they were condemned for their sins on Earth, and then they become demons once they're there, so that those redeemed demons can go to heaven, because overpopulation in hell is so bad that periodically heaven sends down a group of angels to exterminate a bunch of demons and control the population, and the princess of hell, Charlie, doesn't like seeing her people exterminated. So, it's this adult animated show. There's swearing, there's drug use, there's sexual innuendo. It's edgy, for lack of a better term. But at the end of the day, the message of the show seems to be a hopeful one. And as an idea, I like that. It feels more like a cartoony The Good Place or something. And I like the idea that our protagonist, Charlie, is the kind of bubbly, good guy main character who tries to change people's minds through song and sees the good in everyone and believes that everyone can be redeemed. Why is that so familiar to me? And the juxtaposition of implanting a character like that, who is also an adult and does adulty things, unlike other similar protagonists that I can think of off the top of my head, into this far more adult and edgy world, that's interesting to me. The contrast of that juxtaposition is interesting to me, and I honestly didn't think that the character of Charlie was going to feel natural in this world, but she did, and that's a real accomplishment. And you can already see that her plan of creating a hotel where demons who are seeking out redemption can come and stay and give it a try, it's already kind of working, because the first resident of the hotel, a demon named Angel Dust, does seem to care when she's upset, when you would assume that he just wouldn't. So the implication is that she's right, and these demons can become better people. And I would be interested to check up on this show again at the end of a first season, once it was done, and see how these characters' arcs have progressed. But I don't know that I would watch the show regularly until then. Because while I think this was a good show, and I laughed at some moments of it, I definitely liked the character of Alistair, the radio demon. I think he was very entertaining. And while I definitely think that the art style is fantastic and the animation was solid to great, I don't know that I liked this show. I don't know that this is a show that I liked enough to come back to it regularly. To clarify, I am making note of the objective quality of the piece, but I am saying that my personal tastes don't quite align with it. Though I will admit there was some implied lore stuff here that was intriguing to me, so that might make a difference down the line, but I don't know. Because I don't honestly even know what the future of this show is going to be. So far it's just a pilot on a YouTube channel as far as I know. I don't know how often episodes are going to be coming. I don't know if Vivzy Pop and the rest of her crew are trying to get this optioned to a network, or what exactly is going on with this. I just know that there are a lot of people who are really excited about this, and I'm not one of them. I note that it's good, but it didn't really excite me in the same way that it seems to be exciting so many people. And unfortunately, I am not 100% sure that that's not because of some of the stuff that I have been told about and have subsequently read about Vivian and some of the stuff that she has done in the past. And that's what else this video is going to be about, unfortunately. But I do, again, ask any fans of Hazbin Hotel or Vivian herself to stick with me, because again, I'm going to try to be fair in my assessment of this situation. Though I also feel like I have to issue trigger warnings for discussion of pedophilia and just like a whole lot of racism and just some general abuse, because all of those things have been brought against either Vivian or a particular member of her crew working on Hazbin Hotel. Specifically, a member of the crew working with Vivian on the show has been accused of abusive behavior, but there is also supposedly a whole heap of evidence refuting this, whereas there was apparently no evidence actually substantiating the accusations. So I'm just going to kind of leave that one aside. That was your mention of abuse that I warned you about. The rest of it, though, I am going to have to talk about in greater length. I'm not going to show any examples here in the video, but I will say I have seen actual physical evidence that Vivian herself not only drew fan art of and seemingly supports YouTubers who are pretty blatantly racist and or transphobic, but that she also has been known to draw and post pornographic images of some of her underage characters, specifically from a comic that she used to work on called Zoophobia, I believe. There are other allegations as well, like there's an allegation that she has a pedophilic pairing in that same comic, but I don't really agree that that's specifically what it is. I think some people are crossing their wires a little bit. And I have seen people allege that because of the aforementioned pornographic art, Vivian herself is a pedophile. And I will get out of the way right here and right now that if Vivian did draw those pornographic images of her underage characters because doing so titillated her in some way, then yeah, she is. She designed the character to be underage. If she finds them being put in sexual situations to be titillating, then she's a pedophile by definition. And I will also say that I don't think that pedophiles, whether they're offending or not, whether they're ever going to offend or not, should be anywhere near media for children. But Hazbin Hotel is not media for children, and I know that this is going to be a controversial pair of statements, but I don't think that drawing those images automatically makes someone a pedophile. Drawing such images automatically makes someone a pedophile. And I don't think that non-offending pedophiles deserve to not have artistic pursuits or careers available to them because of what they are. I do think it is possible that Vivian was just being gross and edgy, that even in supporting the aforementioned racist and transphobic YouTube personalities. She was just being gross and edgy, and that she's changed because she's apologized for these things before. That is possible. But I also don't have any first-hand knowledge of any of this, and I obviously don't know what kind of person Vivian is internally. I only know what she's presented to the world. And this is when I'm going to have to start talking about some of the stuff that bugged me about Hazbin Hotel, beyond it just not being the kind of thing that I generally like, because I did see some things in that pilot that, if some of these allegations about Vivian are true, might substantiate that, depending on where the story and the character development goes. Because I mentioned the character of Angel Dust earlier, and I mean, I'm not even a gay man, and Angel Dust offended me. He's just this blatant stereotype of an over-sexualized, hypersexual, effeminate gay man who is into sex and drugs and gets caught up in sex work, and it was gross. Like, yeah, this is supposed to be hell. This show is set in hell, so it's not the best environment for somebody, and that could be why he's like this. Maybe he was shaped into this gross stereotype by his environment, and he's eventually going to grow beyond these things and become a more well-rounded, less grossly stereotypical character. But then on the other hand, I'm not the kind of person who thinks that sex work or even drug dependence or alcohol dependence are inherently bad things. They can become bad things, they can lead to bad things, but I don't think that they're inherently bad things or that they make you a bad person. And the way that those traits were lumped in with Angel Dust's extremely violent side seem to imply that, at least in this universe, those are considered inherently bad things. That if you are a sex worker, you're a sinner. If you drink alcohol to the point that you abuse it, even if you're addicted to it, or if you take drugs to the point that you abuse them, even if you're addicted to them, that you're a sinner. And maybe the implication is that that's some flaw in the system of this universe. Maybe heaven, which seems to be an oppressive entity in this story, considers those things to be sins when really they're not quite so bad, just so long as you pursue them in a certain way. And maybe this show is eventually going to reach a point where Charlie and her now at least partially redeemed friends are going to have to try to, in some way, reform heaven so that people can be a little, let's say, edgier and still get in. Maybe the narrative is going to acknowledge that that's a thing that might have to happen in the case of some of these people, because Angel Dust can still be a sex worker and not be a bad person. But if that doesn't end up being the case, if the show's stance is that being a sex worker is inherently bad and Angel Dust should stop being one to be redeemed, then I question immediately which rule set heaven in this universe is using. Is this like Christian heaven? Because it certainly seems to be Christian heaven. There's heaven and hell, angels and demons. So, is being gay a sin? Is that why 3 members of our main cast, that being Angel Dust, Charlie, and Charlie's girlfriend Vaggie, are all gay? Does being gay get you sent to hell? Because I'll say it outright, that that's not the kind of thing that you can redeem out of someone. And any narrative which would suggest that you can is extremely problematic. So I guess trigger warning for discussion of conversion therapy too, because that's effectively what I'm suggesting this show might eventually have to advocate for if they play this narrative completely straight till the end. And, like, obviously this is, like, so much speculation, but I can't help but speculate it because that's just where my head goes. And maybe there's some supplementary something out there, some details that have been released by Vivian or somebody else working on the show, on the story of the show. Maybe somebody has confirmed that my suspicions here are completely unfounded. But I don't know, because I've only watched the show. I'm not part of the fandom around the show. I only have the show to look at, and so far that seems to be what the show might be implying. I want to stress that that's just what it might be implying. I don't know that it's going to go that direction. But I did say that if some of the things that people have been alleging about Vivian are true, that these are the things in the show which might support that. And considering who those YouTubers that I mentioned earlier, not by name, because I'm not going to mention my name, but considering who they were, and the fact that Vivian seems to defend their behavior, and considering the kind of things that they've put on their channels and the kind of people they spend their time with, I could imagine them being the kind of people who might have that opinion of people who are in the LGBT plus community. And if they do have that opinion, and Vivian is the kind of person who would defend their opinions, then it's possible that she shares in those opinions. And I have to bring that up. I feel like I have to bring that up, because I'm the guy who, when I make one of these reviews, if I feel that something might be wrong, if I feel that an injustice might be happening here, I have to mention it. I just can't justify not mentioning it. And, like, yeah, somebody could look at this story and look at how cute Charlie and Vaggie are and be like, oh, Vivian couldn't possibly be homophobic because they're this nice, healthy, happy lesbian couple. But that doesn't really mean anything, in part because the character of Vaggie, like, we don't really know much about her yet, except that she's tough, she doesn't like sexist people, and she's gay. So, which of those things sounds like it would be considered a quote-unquote sin? Is it the last one? Because, I mean, that seems to suggest something, doesn't it? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this show yet entirely. I don't know what I think about this show yet entirely. So I guess this video is in part an open question. What do you guys think of any of this? What do you guys feel about any of this? Is there someone out there who is more in the know regarding all of these various allegations than I am, who can enlighten me on this in one way or another? If nothing else, I want us to talk about all of this in the comments, get a discussion going, a civil discussion. Please, let's be kind to one another and assume the best of one another, at least for the time being. Because if the best case scenario here is true, and Vivian is a different person now than she was when she did all of those things, some of which I think are objectively bad regardless of how you look at them, then I feel like we need to give her a chance. I mean, the message of her show is very literally that people deserve a chance to be better. And I firmly believe that. It's why I've been defending some of the more recent twists and turns in the plot of Steven Universe. I believe that everyone can change, that anyone can change and be a better person. So of course, this person who seems to share that view with me because her new hit show is about that exact thing, of course I believe that she deserves a chance to be a better person too. And now, because I don't actually have anything else to say other than what I've said so far, and also have literally no way to organically segue into the outro of this video, I'll just skip right to the end. what did you guys think of Hazbin Hotel? What do you guys think of all the other stuff that I talked about here? Again, let's be nice, please. But let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. But either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later. This is going to be a shit show.